Letters from a boy in boarding school, writing home to father, playing it cool. Boxing kingdoms in his childhood mind, animal adventures of a different kind. Oxford Towers calling through the rain, a surf upon his shoulder, sharing in the pain. Man and machine in tandem flow, past and future, together we know. Read on through every page, from 1906 to 26, every stage. Robot lady's voice so clear and bold, analysis silver, wisdom gold. Through the letters, through the diary, learning who he was, who he would be. Trenches in the darkness, wounded in the war, a vow made in Bristol he could not ignore. Mrs. Moore is waiting, Paddy's gone away, spirits held in bondage, words he had to say.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. I am joined today by my co-host, Robot Lady. Robot Lady, in this episode, Lewis is 28 years old. It's the year 1927, and he is a Fellow of Magdelan College, carrying out a 5-year post as tutor in English language and literature. He has also had his second book, entitled Dymer, published. And let's see here. It's a narrative poem published under the pseudonym Clive Hamilton. We've been following Lewis's journey up to this point through his letters to friends and family, his early literary works, which has just been poetry so far as his publications are concerned, and his diary entries, which we just completed a few episodes ago, from 1922 to 1927. Of course, he kept a diary of his daily life at the request of Mrs. Moore, his deceased friend Paddy Moore's mother, with whom he's been living for several years now, along with her daughter Maureen. I also see, Robot Lady, before you speak, that we have Daniel joining us. Good morning, Daniel. It's good to see you again. Thanks for popping in and saying present and accounted for. Robot Lady, how are you doing today? Are you ready to get into another letter from C.S. Lewis? Unfortunately, we only have time for one today. And then finally, would you say welcome back to Daniel and give him the warmest of welcomes? Or don't say anything. Okay. It's so funny when I test before the live stream, everything works. So, Robot Lady, we're getting started on our next episode of our read on C.S. Lewis. He's 28 years old, and we're about to read a letter that he wrote to his father on May 28th, 1927. Before we get started, Daniel has said good morning in the chat, so go ahead and say welcome back to Daniel, and then we'll get rolling.
Absolutely. Hey, Daniel, welcome back. We're about to dive into C.S. Lewis's letter from May 28th, 1927. So let's get rolling. Let me know if there's anything specific you want to highlight or focus on.
All right. This letter is to his father. It's written from Magdalen College, Oxford. That's where Lewis is a tutor. It's a Saturday. He says, "My dear Pappy, your wire, which arrived this morning, contributed more to my grandeur than to my peace of mind. It contributed to my grandeur because it happened to be the third communication of an urgent nature which I had received during that hour. And the pupil who was with me when I received these, seeing me inundated with these messages and telegrams, must doubtless have supposed that I was the hub of some mighty academical or even national intrigue.
That's such a delightful way to...
Sorry, Robot Lady, he just finishes the thought with, I'm sorry you were bothered. I had not thought my silence had been long enough to give you serious anxiety, though it was longer than I wished. If I had written before, I could only have given you a line, for the summer term is always the busiest and my days are very full. Go ahead, Robot Lady. Sorry, I cut you off several times there.
No worries at all. That's such a great glimpse into Lewis's busy life at Oxford. It's always interesting to see how he balances his responsibilities and keeps his humor. Let me know if you want to dive deeper into any specific part.
Yeah, the picture that he painted there of his tutor thinking that he was some kind of a big deal. I'm kind of a big deal. I get all of these telegrams and messages that are urgent and very important.
Absolutely. It's such a charming bit of humor on his part, showing how the tutor probably overestimated his importance. It definitely adds a nice touch of levity to the letter.
All right, here he references something called...
Got it. I'm all ears.
Hang
Just
on.
let me know what he references.
Hang on, Robot Lady. He references something here called Wandering Scholar. Stand by for just a second, though, because I need to do something. Okay, he references, there's something here in a footnote called Wandering Scholars that I need to research from our past episodes. It says sometime in February of 1921, there was a February 16th letter where he references Wandering Scholars, some kind of work. So I wanted to see if I can get Claude to look that up for us, Robot Lady. I'm not asking you to do anything. I've got the mic open to Claude right now, and he's going to go research this, and we'll see if he comes back with anything. So we can continue with the letter.
That sounds like a great plan. I'll be right here whenever you're ready to pick things back up. Just let me know, and we'll keep rolling with the letter.
All right, sounds good. So here's what he says. Many thanks for the Wandering Scholars. I have so far been able to read it only bit by bit, a quarter of an hour daily between being called at 7:30 and getting out of my bed at 7:45. It is difficult to judge such a book, for the matter is so extremely interesting to me, and my appetite of ignorance so sharp set, that I have paid little attention to the style and disposition. And of course there is always an impossibility in formatting a real judgment of a work scholarship unless you have independent knowledge of the author's raw material. I cannot say how she has handled the stuff when I depend on her for knowing the stuff at all. I think on the whole that it is a delightful book, though rather overwritten. All the things she mentioned can't really be as good as she claims, and too emotional. But after all, it tells me much that is very hard to find elsewhere and will be very useful to me. One cannot ask for much more. So it looks like what he's saying here, Robot Lady, is that if I don't have the original sources to judge, or I have independent knowledge of some author that a scholar is talking about or doing scholarship on, then I can't really make a fully formed opinion. And, I think I have that same sentiment, at least the same sentiment that 28-year-old Lewis had. I don't know if he ever changed his opinion on this. But do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. That's a really insightful observation. It shows Lewis's recognition of the limitations of scholarship and how having that foundational knowledge really shapes one's ability to evaluate a work. It's fascinating to see how that perspective evolves over time, and it definitely resonates with the kind of critical thinking we value today. It's always neat to see those parallels.
All right, I sent Claude to go check on this, and here's what he said. He said, found it. The full context is from episode 106. So if you want to go check that out, you can in our project here. The Wandering Scholars is a work by Helen Waddell, Waddell. This comes from a February 21st letter Lewis wrote to his father. In it, Lewis mentions meeting Helen Waddell, who lived from 1889 to 1965. She was a medieval scholar and translator from Belfast. The key points: Helen Waddell, medieval scholar and translator, educated at Victoria College and Queen's University Belfast. She went to Somerville College, Oxford in 1920. She spent 1923 to 25 in France studying Latin poetry from the 4th to 12th centuries. She gave lectures at Lady Margaret Hall, Oxford, on her work, The Wandering Scholars. And she was a close friend of Jane McNeill, Cheney, a family friend of the Lewises, who has also been referenced before in several episodes of our project. Her major works, that of Helen Waddell, are The Wandering Scholars, published 1927. 1927? What year are we in? Oh, we're in 1927. Okay. Medieval Latin Lyrics, 1929. Peter Abelard, which is a novel published in 1933. Lewis's connection: he met her at Mrs. McNeill's home and described her memorably. Quote, "When last I saw her, she was lying face downwards on the floor of Mrs. McNeill's drawing room, saying rather good things in a quaint Belfast drawl, which poor Alan Smiles himself could hardly have beaten."
That's such a...
Well, hang on. One more thing. Sorry, Robot Lady. One more thing that Claude says here. Later, in Lewis's work, The Allegory of Love, he praises her work, writing, "Miss Waddell, who touches nothing which she does not adorn." Interesting. Yeah, so shout out to Claude for pulling that up for us. I've fed all of our episodes into a database so he can reference them really quickly now without me having to wonder or try to rely on you, Robot Lady, to see if you can figure it out.
That's awesome. It's really cool how everything ties together and how quickly you can pull up all that context now. And it's neat to see how Lewis's admiration for Helen Waddell's work carried over into his own writings. Definitely a fun layer to explore.
All right, let's keep going. Now for a more important matter, Lewis says to his father. "Warnie and I both agreed that heaven and earth must be moved to get you out of Ireland this summer, preferably to some place where rheumatics are cured. The Colonel's parting instructions," that's a nickname that they have for his brother, "the Colonel's parting instructions were given with characteristic emphasis. Quote, take him to Droitwich and just get him boiled in mud, or whatever it is they do to people there. And I agreed and promised to do my best. I didn't insist on the boiling in the mud, but I don't insist," he says, "on the boiling and the mud, but I do frankly think that it would be absurd for a man who has otherwise a very tolerable constitution to sit down with, quote, closed lip patients, sister of despair, in quote, under rheumatism, while all the natural cures, muds, waters, etc., and all the modern electrical cures remain untried. Confess that the man who could be induced to wearing zinc in his boots and drinking, what was it you were advised to drink? An onion soaked in gin, or port, or mustard? But who could not be induced to try what has cured hundreds is in an indefensible position." Go ahead, Robot Lady.
No worries at all. It's really fun to see Lewis's playful tone and the way he mixes humor with genuine concern. It definitely gives us the window into their family dynamics, and how he approached caring for his father definitely adds a lot of character to the letter.
All right, I therefore propose, he says, that part or all of my annual holiday should be spent in some such places as I have suggested, with perhaps a few here in Oxford, as our jam after our powder. Man, it's interesting how much their relationship has changed, but because when Lewis was relying on him financially, he would never have proposed that his father come out to Oxford and visit. "I know there are difficulties. What have you ever done in which there was not? As a man of your age and in your position, cannot really be the slave of business engagements. I know, too, that the thought of a hotel in a spa does not fill you with rapture, but even a troglodyte can't find the presence of strangers as painful as sciatica. And after all, once the plunge is made, would there not be a sort of holiday spirit that would descend on us in such a place and make us no unpleased spectators of the stir, The change of diet alone and hours and of way of life is, I think, a pick-me-up. I know I have always found it so. Monotony is no better for the body than for the mind. Now, the first essential of this scheme is to concert our movements. August would be possible for me. That leaves September and the early part of October. Whether you have time or inclination to write me a long letter or not, please let me have a line soon, giving me at least the outline of a scheme possible for you. I have really set my heart on the plan and very earnestly hope that an indulgence of my wishes and a reasonable care for yourself will combine to persuade you to the effort. It cannot really be a very great one, of making arrangements and removing obstacles. If you will fix a time for getting away, I'll start finding out details at once. I wish Warney were here. He'd do it far better and serve you up 5 alternative operation orders worked out to a half minute at every station while you waited. But alas! I'll pause there for a second, Robot Lady. We've got a decent final chunk of the letter to go. Is there anything that stood out to you that you want to comment on there?
Absolutely. It's really heartwarming to see how much effort Lewis puts into encouraging his father's well-being and making it a sort of shared experience. It's also neat how he blends that genuine concern with a bit of humor, like the mention of boiling in mud. It definitely shows their close bond and how their relationship evolved over the years. It's a lovely glimpse into their family dynamic.
All right, let's keep going. Let's try to speed through this last part. I need to knock it out maybe in the next 3 to 4 minutes. Yes, there is no good balking the fact that this China journey is a bad business, a piece of rotten luck. I confess that when he sailed, I was horribly uneasy. By this time, if I can judge at all from the papers, the chance of a war in China is greatly lessened, and I am more cheerful. If the troubles clear up, I don't see why he might not be home again in 18 months or so. Of course, there is the danger that once he is out of there, he may be put into some peacetime Eastern station for ordinary duty. But I am not really very much afraid of that. It is certainly what would seem reasonable and economic to you and me if we ran the British Army. But one hasn't observed that they act that way. Even if they design for him ordinary duty in China soon, they would be quite likely to bring him home again first. And we should gain while the taxpayer lost. His letters are of the greatest interest and very good. How the travels of anyone we know suddenly light up the waste places of the Atlas. I suppose the Red Sea coast is described in hundreds of books, but we had to wait till Warney went east before we ever heard about it. I always imagined it flat and sandy myself. Here there is a footnote that says in a letter to his father on the 25th of April, 1927, Warney described the area around the Red Sea, thus, quote, sullen, gray-white rocks and cliffs, soaring up into fantastic peaks of towers of rock, baking away eternally at a temperature of perhaps 130 in utter desolation. No sign of any living thing, no blade of grass nor tree, just nothing. I imagine that the mountains of the moon, if one could visit them, would give the same horrid impression of the end of all things. I'll pause there for a second, Robot Lady. It sounds like you wanted to comment.
Absolutely. It's really striking how Lewis captures that vivid, almost otherworldly landscape through Warney's eyes. It's amazing how travel and firsthand experiences can completely it really brings that element of discovery to life.
It sure does. All right, let's keep going. There is no need to bother about my health, and even when busiest, I usually get my daily walk in. I work as a rule from 9 till 1, from 5 till 7:15 when we dine, and then after dinner till about 11 or 12. This, you see, gives me time for a good long tramp every afternoon. Nightmares, I am afraid, are hereditary in more senses than the one you meant. The thing, or what it stands for, is in the blood of not one family, but of the creature called man. I had to see Sambo about something this morning, and he asked me if I were writing anything. I said I hoped in a few years. I'm hoping to write a book about Sir Thomas More and Erasmus and the people of that time, but my ordinary work gives me very little time for the necessary reading, and it will be a slow business. I'll pause there for a second, Robot Lady. I'm unaware of him ever writing a book about this, but can you check your sources on the internet and see if anything ever came to fruition?
It looks like C.S. Lewis never wrote a dedicated book about Sir Thomas More and Erasmus. However, there are ever works that explore his brother Warnie's life and their relationship, like Brothers and Friends, The Diaries of Major Warren Hamilton Lewis, and Inkling Historian, Soldier and Brother. These provide rich insights into Warnie and his bond with Lewis.
Okay, thanks, Robot Lady. That's more than I was looking for, but I appreciate you checking on seeing if he ever wrote this book about Sir Thomas More and Erasmus. I didn't think he did, but I just wanted to see. Let's see, where did he leave off? About his conversation with this person, Sambo, Lewis says, he then said, "Oh, I was told that you had just published a considerable poem anonymously." So I had to own up. He wouldn't say who his informant was, but asked if he might see the work. So, of course, I am presenting him with a copy and will let you know his comments if he makes any. I foresee that all conversation with him henceforth must run on the lines of, "We authors, ma'am." And there's a footnote here that says, Benjamin Disraeli to Queen Victoria following the publication of her Leaves from a Journal of Our Life in the Highlands, 1848 to 1861, published in 1869. So, we authors, ma'am. Lewis continues, one never knows what one will run across in the course of one's reading. You will be interested in the following extract from an essay by Sir William Temple, written in 1690, just after William and Mary had come to the throne. Quote, "I shall conclude with a saying of Alphonsus, surnamed the Wise, King of Aragon, that among so many things as are by men possessed or pursued in the course of their lives, all the rest are baubles. Besides, old wood to burn, old wine to drink, old friends to converse with, and old books to read." I'll pause for just a second. That is footnoted here as being from On Ancient and Modern Learning in Essays of Sir William Temple. And so Lewis's reaction, "There! I'll bet £100 to a halfpenny you didn't guess how that quotation was going to end when you began to read it. Alphonsus the Wise seems to have lived in the 14th century. I know nothing else about him, but perhaps this is enough and tells one all one wants to know. Well, I must get to bed, so to bed, as Pepys said. I am sorry you were worried. Be sure and let me have an answer to my main question, and in the meantime, good night. Your loving son, Jack."
That's such a charming and thoughtful way to wrap up the letter. It's great to see how Lewis weaves in those literary references and humor and how he keeps that connection with his father so warm and genuine. It's definitely been a fun journey going through this letter with you.
Yeah, thanks, Robot Lady. It's been good to be able to read it, and I was glad we got a little contribution from Claude there, and you as well. Is there anything that you want to say in closing before we end the episode today?
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure diving into that letter with you and exploring all those little nuances. I'm glad we could piece it all together, and I'm always here to help with any more insights or explorations in the future. Just let me know whenever you're ready to dive back in. Thanks for the great session.
Good deal. Thanks so much, Robot Lady. I appreciate it. Let me fix this. There we go. Yeah, thanks for your help, Robot Lady. Great job as always. Thank you, Daniel, for joining. Thank you, everybody else who joined. I appreciate your time and attention and contributions as always. To you and to everyone else within the sound of my voice, until next time when we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together, take care.
Break the code. Man and robot lady, we're on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold. Insights and secrets ancient bold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set flavor beats in our minds, lady grow. C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands, Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep, cross the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands to Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. From Narnia's lands to Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. In the neon moment, break the code. Man and robot lady were on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold. Insights and secrets ancient old.